In the heart of the Arizona desert, near a lonesome stretch of highway, stood the rusty Spur, a roadside bar known to be a hotspot for bikers. The walls were adorned with old license plates, faded road signs, and photographs of legendary bikers. The regulars had long since grown accustomed to the occasional rough crowd rolling in from time to time, but on this particular night, a different kind of story was about to unfold. It was around 9 p.m. when the rumble of motorcycles broke through the desert's eerie silence. The bar's patrons glanced outside, watching a gang of bikers pull up in a cloud of dust. There were about 10 of them, their engines roaring like wild animals before they cut off in unison. The gang's leader, Snake, hopped off his bike. His leather vest gleamed under the neon bar sign, and a sinister grin crept across his face as he swaggered toward the door. Inside, the bar was alive with conversation and music from an old jukebox. Locals were relaxing after a long day's work, pool balls clacked, beers were poured, and laughter echoed in the air. All of that came to a stop the moment Snake and his gang entered. The energy shifted as if someone had turned the temperature down. The regulars lowered their voices, instinctively knowing that trouble had arrived. "Time to liven this place up," Snake muttered to his crew as they made their way to the pool table. They shoved aside a couple of patrons, taking over without so much as a word. While this was happening, Snoop Dogg pulled up outside. He was on a soul-searching road trip, driving across the country to take a break from the fast-paced life of fame. The desert sky stretched endlessly above him as he parked his custom black SUV. Dressed in a hoodie, jeans, and classic shades, Snoop was looking forward to some peace and quiet. But peace, as fate would have it, wasn't on the menu tonight. As soon as he walked in, all eyes turned to him. It wasn't just because of his tall frame or his cool demeanor. There was something about Snoop's presence that commanded attention. He made his way to the bar, nodding politely at the bartender. "Evening, my man. Let me get a gin and juice," Snoop said with a smile. The bartender nodded quickly, clearly recognizing him. "You got it, Snoop." However, not everyone was impressed. Snake's second-in-command, a burly biker named Hank, nudged Snake and pointed toward Snoop. "Who's this clown?" Hank sneered. "Thinkin' he can stroll in here like he owns the place." Snake chuckled darkly. "Probably some wannabe rapper. Let's have a little fun." They sauntered over to the bar. Snake leaned against the counter, invading Snoop's space. "Hey there, city boy. You lost? This ain't a music video." Snoop glanced sideways, took a slow sip of his drink, and then casually looked at Snake. "Nah, homie. I'm exactly where I need to be. Just chillin', you feel me?" The bikers laughed, but there was an underlying tension. Snake didn't like being talked to like an equal by anyone who wasn't part of his crew. He reached out and lightly tapped Snoop on the shoulder. "You must not know how things work around here. We're the ones in charge. Maybe you should finish your drink and bounce." The bar fell into an uncomfortable silence. People watched nervously, waiting to see how Snoop would react. Was he going to back down? Or was this about to escalate? Snoop slowly turned on his barstool to face Snake fully. His calm gaze didn't waver, but his voice carried a warning beneath its smooth surface. "Man, let me ask you something. Why is it that guys like you always gotta test people? What you tryin' to prove?" Snake's smirk faltered. He wasn't expecting such a composed response. "I don't gotta prove anything. You're the one outta your element." "That so?" Snoop replied. He stood up, towering slightly over Snake, but there was no hostility in his posture. "You know what? I got an idea. Let's make this night interesting. How about we settle this over a game of pool?" Snake scoffed. "You serious? Pool? You think you can take me?" Snoop chuckled softly. "Let's find out." You win, I'll leave without another word. I win, you apologize to everyone here for actin' like a punk. Deal? The crowd buzzed with excitement. The regulars had never seen anyone stand up to Snake like this. Snake hesitated for a moment, but his pride wouldn't let him walk away. You got yourself a deal, he snarled. The game was on. The two men squared off at the table. Snoop broke first, sending balls scattering across the table with perfect precision. He sank a striped ball on his first shot, prompting a few whistles of admiration from the crowd. Snake gritted his teeth and lined up his shot. His nerves were getting the best of him, and he missed an easy pocket. Snoop shook his head with a grin. Man, you gotta relax. This ain't life or death. Snoop continued to dominate the game, making trick shots that left the crowd cheering. He spun the cue stick in his hands like a baton, clearly enjoying himself. The final shot was a bank shot across the length of the table. Snoop leaned in, his voice calm but commanding. This one's for respect. With a smooth strike, the ball bounced perfectly off the cushion and into the corner pocket. The bar erupted in applause. Snoop straightened up and gave Snake a knowing look. Snake stood there, humiliated but unable to deny what had just happened. Slowly, he extended his hand. All right, you got me. I'm sorry for the trouble. Snoop shook his hand firmly. Now that's what I'm talking about. Respect goes both ways, brother. The bikers quietly faded into the background as Snoop mingled with the patrons. He signed autographs, took selfies, and shared stories from his career. The bar that had started the night in tension was now filled with laughter and camaraderie. By the time Snoop left, he had earned the admiration of everyone in the room. As he drove off under the vast desert sky, the patrons of the rusty Spur knew they had witnessed something special, a night where respect, humility, and cool-headed confidence won the day. The legend of that night would live on in the town's stories for years to come. Snoop? He just smiled and kept driving, knowing he had once again spread good vibes wherever the road had taken him.